Gary Rawlinson, and the predictions you've just seen there were from what I got right from last year's, and the ones I'm doing now are for this year, and it's for 18 months ahead from this point. We'll give these cards a shuffle, and then we'll just lay them randomly. We're going to do it for people who are familiar with the tarot in a 12-house spread. It's a perfect reading for the whole world, not just a straightforward personal event. We're going to do it in the form of the years though, and not the house suits. So, to begin with, if we start with Theresa May, and we look at this one here, which is like politics. She has a hard year to come. A rival man tries to bring her down in some way or take her place. Her as Prime Minister hangs in the balance by a thread. It'll be basically a battle for her. She loses the faith of many people. Basically, she's weakened as Prime Minister. There's a lot of endings and new beginnings around her as well, but they could connect to many things, I guess, with Brexit and stuff coming up. If we move on to the EU over here, I think it'll be delayed. But whatever happens in the future, because there's a change of course in some way, the country does end up in a much stronger position than it is now. Even though people predict it'll be a weaker one, it'll end up a stronger one. Parliament in general, what I'm seeing for that is there's a lot of shocks, shake-ups and bolts from the blue this year. A lot of things that people did not see coming. Trump, let's move on to him. What we see with him is he's going to have a really bad month in September. He manages to get out of a lot of things with a Mueller investigation, but he doesn't manage to get out of everything. He nearly causes World War III again. Basically what I'm seeing is the water he's drowning in is getting deeper. His peace with North Korea is very short-lived. That won't go on much longer. If we go on to that World War III situation now, it's a situation with America, England, North Korea, and there will be a fourth country involved, but I'm not sure which one that is. It'll come close to a war situation, but it won't go into one. So it doesn't happen, but it's very close. England's strongly involved in the situation, but it does blow over. Something else I'm getting after this, which could tie in, is something connected to a trade war. It's a possible trade war, or it's something, arguments of a trade that nearly kicks the situation off, or a separate situation soon after. If we go on to Putin and Russia, basically what I'm seeing with him is Russia is weakened by other countries all cutting ties with him and his country. He's left in the dark as other countries close the door, kind of a connection to the neo-war situation we've seen. Okay, let's do some celebrities. The Kardashians as a whole, as a family. Someone suffers from an illness, and it's just a general run of bad luck around them the next 18 months. Kim Kardashian, she writes a new book. There's a huge scandal rocks her and Kane, showing them in a very negative way. But somehow she turns it around in actions of helping her career, which I guess she's quite good at. So once it does settle, she actually does a justice in some way. Someone in the family betrays her as well. Okay, Kylie Jenner loses a lot of money in a lawsuit. Rob Kardashian, the brother, he marries, engagement and marriage here for him. Khloe Kardashian, if we look at the rat card, she gets cheated on again, and yes, she forgives again, and it's a bit random, but the cards are saying she's gonna put on a lot of weight for some reason, which is a bit random, but that's what they're showing. Okay, if we move on to Conor McGregor, another celeb. Okay, what I'm getting from him is he retires from the UFC or leaves for a while to go and do other things. He's going to go for a really bad patch, as we see with the depression here, a hard time. He's going to blow loads of money, a bit random, but he's also going to move house. But he definitely leaves to do other things. If he does come back, it will be further on in the future. Rihanna, I don't think this will fit into the whole 18 months. But there's a marriage, a baby and a divorce. So this we'd see the start of it within 18 months. Ant and Dec, if we look at Ant, because he's been in the news recently, we've got he completely beats his illness and saves his TV career a deck, it'll be as though nothing has happened until he messes up again, as we see with an addiction card. He will mess up again. What else have we got here? Katie Price. Right, what I get from Katie is, if we look at the rat card again, she picks the wrong man again, and the relationship is short-lived, it's doomed. There'll be cheating connected again in some way. She does settle down again though, and she has a happy relationship, but I just don't think it's with the person she's with now. I think that's very short-lived. We're going to see the end of that soon. Tommy Robinson, who's been in the news. Death card, we see he'll have an early release from prison. He'll get out early, but he ends up back inside, not too far ahead in the future at all. I was going to do some stuff for the World Cup, but I'm already halfway through it now, so I don't know if there's much point. Even though I do see something to do with a red and white football kit will have significance towards the end, red and white. So I'll just throw that in there anyway. What else have we got here? What else I'm getting is, if we look at technology, we're going to have a breakthrough of how planes are built, especially the metal and materials used. So there's a change in technology with how planes are built and things like that. Let's see what else we can get. There'll be a breakthrough if we go on to medical things now. Now this is going to be with how we treat lung and breathing problems. It looks like a type of fake lung starts to be used in the next 18 months. Or it starts to be put into practice. It could be technology of how we build the lungs up after they're damaged. Or something that goes inside the lungs, something like that. Also breakthrough with blood cancer or sickle cell cancer. Or both of them, there's a similarity there. Big breakthrough with eye surgery and the way we fix sight in blind people or people with very poor sight. What else can we get? If we go on to the royal family, this is one of the biggest predictions I'm getting for this year, I think. There'll be another royal baby, but one of the biggest things that's standing out for the royals is there's a cause for celebration, but also a cause for sad news and sorrow in some way, bad news. Prince Harry will have a hard year, an ending, and bad news, and it will test him and there'll be tears and sadness, but there's a lot of endings around him and things coming to an end. Also, I think we'll have the new King of England with a main card here in the middle. I think that will be within the next 2 years, if not sooner. But we see just a huge change with a shake-up of the monarchy. The new King of England within 2 years. Obviously, I can't see everything that's going to happen this year, 18 months. I can only see so much from the pack of cards, but this is what I can see happening. So I think that's all I can get from now within these predictions. Okay, so that's all I can get with the cards. But I've been learning visions, so I'm going to try a few of those as well to see what else we can get. So we'll take the cards out of the picture completely. And we'll just see what visions we can get. They are stronger than cards when you use visions, but they're much harder to control. So there's pros and cons to using cards or visions. I'm quite new to my visions, but there's still always some interesting things.
So let's see what we can get.
Okay, let me try and see what I can get with the first one. 1 minute, they can take a while to pull through. Something to do with a spaceship having problems or blowing up. It could be a shuttle, spaceship, something like that. Let's try and see what we can pull through with natural disasters. Let's see what we can get. I'm getting something to do with Britain having some of the worst freak weather it's ever seen, especially storms, but especially flooding. I'm getting it really badly hitting the northwest of England, Merseyside area. That'll be quite prominent over the next 18 months. What else are we getting? Keeping in with Britain, I'm seeing something to do with a man. I think he's walking a dog on a cliff or somewhere high and he falls off to his death. A bit random, but that's what I'm seeing. something to do with a volcano. I know we've just had one, but there's something else differently to come up. So that's going to be quite a big thing, and it's going to be underwater or very close to water, this volcano. It's going to be a big thing this year. I don't know if it's a connection on the one which is already going on or something brand new, but it's something bad around a volcano. Something to do with bullfighting. If we look at Spain, now you could imagine that could be a tragedy, or it could be just something connected with the laws with bullfighting. It's something to do with bullfighting being in the news, basically. What else? Something, it looks like a huge storm. This looks enormous. Around small islands, looks like somewhere close to the Mediterranean. Looks like it's wiping out a lot of things. It'll be huge, probably hurricanes or something like that. But a massive storm which is going to cause havoc. Ebola's going to make a bit of a comeback, but only in a small way, which isn't for very long. It soon goes away again. Getting some random stuff, but I'm not getting the places, but I'll throw them in anyway, because sometimes when you look back, they end up being the biggest things, and then you kick yourself for not putting them in. So I'm getting something to do with a huge mudslide, which is going to cause a lot of trouble or destruction. Sorry about my writing, I'm just trying to see and write. Really bad plane crash, but that's very soon. The plane crash is not far away at all. Probably in the next couple of weeks. What else we get? Something to do with a hotel fire. And it's really strange because it looks like this is a very grand, huge hotel. And it looks like it sits directly on a seafront or facing the ocean, very close to water. And it's on fire. But I don't know where that is, but I'm just seeing a hotel on fire facing a seafront. What is that? What is that? Looks like a meteorite. Lighting up the sky. Maybe a small one hits or something like that. That's not obviously a big one. Okay, some different random things I get from my mind. My guide's in the room with me and I have to ask them to show me visions. That's how it works. Something to do with going away from natural disasters now. Something to do with Barclays Bank running into trouble in the next 18 months. It might shut down, they might run into money troubles, you know, anything like that. Barclays Bank. There's going to be a huge cyber war which is going to cause hell on. Obviously that would be with computers and things online. Cyber war. That's very clear to me. Some visions are clearer than others. It's hard to know when to trust them if they're faint, but they are still right. Animals making the news. A lion is going to cause a bit of a fuss, and a rhino for some reason. Rhino. Okay, we're going to try and go on to terror attacks, which do come better from visions. It's very hard to see random things through cards. It's easier to think of something and then lay the cards and incorporate the two together. From completely random things, visions are better. So terror attacks are better with visions. So we're seeing a good few hit in America over the next 18 months. One will have a connection to a bomb. They're going to be very unfortunate with terror attacks. With the time coming up, there's obviously going to be a lot of shootings in America, there always is, but I'm seeing one in particular here, which has a Mexican connection. Maybe the shooter's Mexican or something like that. That one will be unrelated to terror. Germany will see attacks also, and I think there'll be one in Mexico from what I'm seeing. France will have attacks as well, and there'll be one connected with guns. Now London is shown a little bit more. Sorry, France. Germany. Now with the London one, which is interesting, all I'm seeing is tower or a bridge. It's a connection to a tower bridge or tower or a bridge, something like that in London, which is going to cause, it's going to be a bad one. So there's a terror attack near a bridge in London or near a tower or something like that. And then there's a smaller attack very soon after the larger attack in London. Smaller one around it. That's what it looks like. It's been shown to me anyway. Obviously there'll be other attacks, but these are the ones I'm seeing. I can't see everything. I it just looks like a big one and then a much smaller one, but quite close around it. It doesn't take long for the smaller one to follow London. I think that's it. I'm not getting anything else. I don't want to force it. No, we'll leave it there. I think that's about all I can get for today. I'll see you in 18 months.